And we are back with another Lakers snack pack. It is just after 5:30 here on the East Coast. It is a beautiful 82 degrees in Toronto. Feels like a summer day actually. There's a lot of people out on the patios, people wearing summer clothes, and it's really nice to see after the long winter we've had here on the East Coast. So, want to welcome everybody back to another edition. Excited to be back again. Yeah, so the Lakers fast break got together last night. Shout out to Gerald Glassford, John McCallion, and Joe Soro. We all got together and had a little wrap up from the playing results. And just to review for anybody who was not paying attention, last night the Chicago Bulls defeated the Toronto Raptors 109-105, and the Thunder defeated the Pelicans. I'm just going to grab that score right now. I believe it was. I don't have the score in front of me, but it's 123-118. Thunder defeated the Pelicans. A little controversy towards the end. Brandon Ingram looked like his elbow was hit as he launched a three. No foul called, and as the game ensued, New Orleans wasn't able to muster up any kind of offense, and the Thunder kept hitting their free throws. So the Thunder and the Bulls both move on. That's the first time in the history of the plan that both 10 seeds have defeated the ninth seed to advance to the secondary playing game. So we will see on Friday night the Chicago Bulls in the I don't even know what their arena is called anymore since Sam Bankman-Fried went to jail. So they're playing in Miami. We'll see how that goes. I'll preview that game tomorrow on MagicMan in the morning, and also on the second slate of game for the plan to determine the eighth seed is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves hosting the OKC Thunder. We'll see how that game goes. I know a lot of people are probably just thinking, it's probably a lot to ask the Thunder to defeat a Wolves team with Rudy Gobert actually in the lineup. The Wolves are still going to be short Jaden McDaniels, but I happen to think the Thunder can give the Wolves a run for the money. They may just run out of gas at the fourth because they're a young and experienced team. Or they could possibly pull off the not the unthinkable, but improbable. Winning games against better teams. Pelicans, quite honestly, had I think the better roster top to bottom, and I think the Wolves have more of a top heavy roster than the Thunder do at this point. But for all the crap that's been going on this year. I was a little surprised that Josh Giddey really didn't receive any kind of flowers yesterday for his performance. It was a quiet, almost triple-double, 31, 10, 9. I think he was just one rebound off of a triple-double. But Giddey's the real deal. Giddey is the real deal. I actually think that for all the narratives going on about Ben Simmons, oh yeah, when he came in, he was going to be the Magic Johnson with a turbocharged motor, right? That's basically what we heard. The vision, the spatial awareness. He's just going to be unstoppable. And what happened? I don't know what happened. Well, I don't think we'll ever know what happened, but something happened in that Atlanta series that changed his mindset forever. forever, because he hasn't established a post game. He hasn't established any kind of jumper, and everybody praises the Aussie, right? Oh, he's the best. He's the best Aussie prospect to come out of Australia. I don't think so. I'd put Josh Giddey ahead of Ben Simmons right now. Josh Giddey, uh, he's look, he improved his 3-point shot. Last year, he shot like closer to 25% than he did 35. This year, he's shooting closer to 35 than 25. He's improved tremendously as a shooter. He's got a better dribble drive game. Uh, he sees the floor better than Simmons does. Like, I'm sorry, it's just I've been watching basketball for well over 30 years. I've heard all the Simmons talk. Josh Giddey has upticked every statistical category in his repertoire. Everyone. His field goal percentage is up. His 3-point percentage is up. His free throw percentage is up. His points per game are up. This guy just keeps getting better and better, and I think he should be pointed at as, yeah, that's the kind of quality of player that can come out of Australia, not Ben Simmons. So I just wanted to give my flowers to Josh Giddey because I think he's going to be tremendously important for the Thunder coming up. Because when you look at the Thunder currently, SGA doesn't shoot a lot of threes. Like, a lot of people want to point to, well, SGA is part of this dribble drive three evolution in the NBA. Not really. He's SGA loves to drive, score easy layups, and get to the free throw line. 3-pointers aren't his game. He shot less than 175 threes this year. He shoots almost less than 3 a game, sometimes less than 2. He doesn't need to shoot threes. The Thunder have a variety of 3-point shooters and ball handlers on their team that's going to bode well for them in the future. Like, I was asking Gerald yesterday, of the two teams that played yesterday, the Thunder and the Pelicans, which one has the bigger upside? I'll pose that question to our audience. So please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Lakers Fast Break, but please leave a comment. Who do you think has the better upside, the Pelicans or the Thunder? That would be my question. I happen to think, just because of their draft capital and what Sam Presti's been able to do. I mean, my goodness, they couldn't find any time for McGee, and now he's flourishing in New York. But they brought in Joe Isaiah, and Joe Isaiah is probably the biggest and best pickup that any GM has gotten this year. I mean, for what he's making versus what he's producing, it's insane, his production. So hats off to Presti and the Thunder. They advanced. They'll be playing the Wolves tomorrow. And with that, move on to some other news. It's really interesting. I found this stat as I was researching for the playoffs. This is from Forbes magazine. Forbes is saying that in 2022-23, the NBA season gap in win percentage between the 4th and 12th seed in the West was only 0.101%, i.e., less than 8.5 wins. That was the difference. Up until March 24th, that gap was only 3 wins. So a difference of 8 games, 73 games played at March 24th versus 81 when this report came out. There was a difference of 8.5, 3 wins to 8.5. And I did some research, and if you look back at the West standings, March 15th, basically almost a month to the day, here's what we find out. The Suns were at 4th seed in that place, and they still remained. They had 37 wins. They were 37 and 32. They finished with 45. The Jazz at that time and the Pelicans were both tied for 12th. They were 33 and 36. So 37 versus 33. That was the difference nearly a month ago between 4th and 12th. A difference of 3 wins. The problem is the play-in doesn't exacerbate teams' ability to tank. In other words, if you're in 11th or 12th place and you say you have 42 wins, and there are 3 games left, and the 10th seed has 43 wins. Well, if you win those 2 games, you're more than likely probably going to be in there. But if you lose both of those games, your odds of increasing in the lottery drop significantly. See, the only way your chances or percentages rise is if you decide to tank earlier. If you wait until like the very last minute up until sitting your guys, you're likely not going to increase your chances of the lottery. That's why the Mavs got into this mess. They made a trade for Kristaps Porzingis that they thought would pay off and put beside Luka. Didn't work out. They thought they could sign Christian Wood and put him in a position to try and help Luka. Didn't work. And now Kyrie. And they've traded all these picks away, and they are going to be praying like hell. Pardon the pun, but praying like hell that 20% chance doesn't lead them down the road to perdition, because that's where they're headed essentially. It's the basketball road of perdition where you trade away your picks and nothing ever comes of it, and you keep trying to have to build a team around a superstar. And hey, LeBron made it look easy, right, ladies and gentlemen? LeBron made it look easy trying to build a team around a superstar. It's not. It's not easy to build a team around a superstar. We've seen it. We've seen it. We've seen it with Luka. We've seen it with Devin Booker. We've seen it with Chris Paul. We've seen it with Carmelo Anthony. It is difficult to build a team around a superstar. You have to hit all the right notes and pray for good health at the end of the year. That's the only way it really happens. So the Western Conference has really undertaken a huge change over the last month. Last month, the Lakers were in 10th place and they were 34 and 35. Now, since then, they've gone 10 in 4. 10 and 4. Not bad. Not bad. Plus 10 wins would be better than any of the teams from 4th till 12th. So the Lakers won the most games out of that group to end the season. And welcome my special guest, Nic Molina. Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Hey Sean, what's up? How's the snack going?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I'm just kind of going over, a bit of loose ends about an interesting stat I read in Forbes magazine. They were talking about on March 24th, the gap between the 4th seed and the 12th seed in the West was 3.5 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when I wrote this down, this is April 5th. It had almost basically doubled to 8.5 wins. But at the time, right, March 15th, the Jazz and the Pelicans were tied for 12th place at 33 wins. The Suns were in 4th at 37.
Mm.
That's never happened before in the modern era in the Western Conference, where you had that small of a gap between 4th and 12th.
Yeah, Sean, I think it just goes to a more global point of just how strange the NBA season has been this year, and especially with the Western Conference, just how wide open everything is. Speaking just for myself, I would not be surprised if any team beat anyone at this point, just given the tightness of everyone's records and how just unpredictable the season has been. And obviously, given the additional variable that, once the playoffs start, the regular season at that point doesn't matter. It's a completely different tournament. So it's anybody's game at that point.
It's a whole different ball game. How you win in the regular season is not how you're going to win in the playoffs. That's for sure.
With the playoffs in mind, and obviously the Lakers going up against the Grizzlies, Sean, what would be your game plan, kind of your strategy for that first game against the Grizzlies? Are you coming out aggressive? Are you coming out a little bit more cautious, trying to read the game, trying to plan out for a longer series? What's kind of your thought process on that?
You know what, Nick? I gotta be honest. I'm always hesitant, especially like trying to like foresee a game one win, especially on the road. I think the first 10 minutes are going to be critical, man. Yeah, I just think they need to come out and try and establish AD in the post and LeBron with the at the rim. I think it's integral. Memphis is just gonna, I think, try and be ultra aggressive and just try and roll us really quick. Just I think that's just their attitude coming into this game is to flurry like fast and furious and just try and get out. Because I think if LeBron and AD are, if their plan is to kind of grind them out and extend the game. I don't think Memphis wants to play it that way. They're very up and down. They love getting back in transition on offense and defense. So I think points are going to be a premium there. I think two big things. If you can't get Triple J in trouble, then you have to find a way to be very efficient at the rim when he's out. And
No, I
and
hear you.
yeah, and two is our defense has been very good over the past 6 weeks, man. So the Lakers are number one in the league in getting to the line. They're number one in the league in preventing teams from getting to the line, and we're third in drawn charges. So Memphis loves to play fast and high tempo. So I think if guys are just ready to put their bodies on the line, I think the Lakers can draw a lot of charges and get Memphis in some turnover trouble outside of that because outside of Ja, Tyus Jones is really probably the most efficient player in the NBA. So he's not really going to turn the ball over a hell of a lot. So the Lakers need to take advantage of turnovers when they present themselves.
Absolutely, Sean. I'm with you. I agree with you. And actually, as a follow-up question to that, just something that I've been kicking around in my mind, and I would love to get your thoughts on this, is obviously, Memphis has people like John Morant, Dylan Brooks, and others.
Yep.
So, with that said, and given Dennis's ability to be a very effective and able point of attack defender, would you actually start Dennis in place of either Austin Reeves or D'Angelo Russell, or would you keep the lineup as it is right now, bringing Dennis off the bench with Russell and Reeves starting in the backcourt?
That's interesting, Nick. Hmm. I'd probably leave it as is, but I wouldn't be shocked and or surprised or confused if he did that. That would be pretty sound. I remember previously when they did play Memphis with our other incarnation of a team, Troy Brown Jr. was starting that game, so I doubt he would do that again. But you never know. Starting Dennis is pretty interesting. Although I like the idea of him hounding Tyus Jones off the bench. I think you need somebody who can corral him because Memphis's bench can cook, especially when he's rolling. So I'm not sure if they'll bring Dennis uh, off the bench and in the starting lineup. I could see why, right? Because then of course you're bringing Reeves off the bench and Reeves checks Jones. So it's really interesting, man. I, I know a lot of people are favoring the Grizzlies, and rightfully so because they had the better record. I think the Grizzlies missing Adams really limits them from an offensive versatility, Nick. Because the big difference here's the big difference to me between Steven Adams and Rudy Gobert. And if you disagree, let me know. When Rudy sets picks, it's almost as if it's robotic. It's very by the numbers, like very boilerplate, like laissez-faire. When Adams sets picks, it's hard. It's hard. You feel them. And I think over a 48-minute game, he grinds on people and he makes people wary of his physicality. And Memphis missing that, I think, allows the Lakers to kind of punish them because Adams was more known as a punishing setter than Gobert. Gobert's a big body. He allowed people like Spida and now Ant to get a lot of space, whereas Adams can create space and intimidation.
No, absolutely, Magic Man. That's exactly right. With Adams, I mean, it's almost like, if he sets a screen, it's running into a brick wall.
Yes.
Whereas with I can't say the same about Gobert. And so definitely with Adams out of the lineup and not available, I think that's a huge leg up for the Lakers, especially given the fact that Ham has not seemed to have found a backup center. Even with Mo Bamba now available, there's trepidation on Ham's part to actually give him some minutes. I'm still trying to understand that one. I'm not sure why you don't bring Bamba in for, I don't know, even 10 minutes a night just to bang a little bit down low with any big men that might be on the other side. I'm also curious to see, although not optimistic, that Tristan Thompson will be available, and I don't know what he will bring at this point. Maybe we got lucky and he, has some spurts of old brilliance or old effectiveness. But other than that, yeah, the center position is one that we're weakened just because we don't have backups there. But again, hopefully we could figure it out. Magic Man, you're muted.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. Outside of Triple J, the Memphis Grizzlies are really limited at the center position. They have Aldama, they have Tillman, they have David Roddy, but none of those guys can shoot threes at the clip that Triple J can, and none of those guys are great pick setters and passers in the same way that Adams is. So in every single way that the backups don't measure up with Adams and Triple J. That's where the Lakers have to take advantage of it because Kenny Loft, as much as a lot of people love Kenny Lofton Jr., and he's going to be a great player, he is there for energy and hustle. He gets a lot of offensive boards and he hustles. He's not a shooter either. So the Lakers really need to establish the paint, and if they can run Triple J and a couple more shooters off the line, that'd be great because Ja loves to drive and kick. That's his bread and butter. Outside of Trey Young, Ja has the highest assist to turnover percentage in the NBA. That just means the amount of assists versus the amount of passes versus the amount of assists he gets. Trey averages around 20%. So for every 40 passes Trey makes, uh, 8 are assists, 20%, right? So Ja's along those same lines. Um, it's important for the Lakers to get him in foul trouble if you can. Ja has a tendency to not change his change of pace or speed when he gets into the lane. He's like a rocket. So in that way, if you can, if not slow him down, but corral him or just create an obstacle that he has to try and get around, it bodes well because the Lakers have been opportunistic in the lane with steals.
Yep, no, that's absolutely right, Magic Man. And Sean, I'll add another thing, and I think might be the most, just in my view, probably the most critical thing about this game going up against the Grizzlies, and I think it's just going to be the mental game. As we know, the Grizzlies love to talk tough and to express a huge ego, and whatever the Lakers could do to minimize or eliminate that ego would actually, I think, end up winning them this series. I think that the Grizzlies are a team that, if they get a good vibe going, if they get momentum going, if they start getting hot from the 3-point line or whatnot, they're going to be difficult to stop. But if you could do something to curtail that confidence, I think that's a huge, huge plus.
Man, Nick, that's a really solid point, man. It's a really solid point. They, you know, to quote Zach De La Roca from Rage, they say that in war, the truth be the first casualty. So I think, yeah, if you could have a situation where they're forced to eat humble pie and think about all the ways that the Lakers are frustrating them. Yeah, I think you're right, Nick. I think that that's their Achilles heel, so to speak, if you will, is their inability to, it seems, um, pick themselves up by the bootstraps when someone knocks them on their ass.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right, Sean. And
Good
uh,
point,
we
man.
we know that LeBron, he's talked smack with the Grizzlies in the past. So hopefully he brings that energy for this upcoming series. But yeah, man, I'm very much looking forward to it. And I know that the snack packs are a big hit with the LFB audience. And shout outs to everybody that's watching and in the chat room right now. The Magic Man is doing good work out here.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. And before we head out from this snack break, we gotta finish up some in-house awards, Nick. So we asked everybody who their rookie of the year was, and I'll just go from descending to ascending. Jamie got back to us with his five. He voted Jalen Williams number one, Keegan Murray number two, Paolo Banchero number three, Walker Kessler number four, and Jalen Duran number five. Gerald had Banchero one, Williams two, Kessler three, Murray four, Matherin five. Um, Henry had interesting. He had Walker Kessler as his rookie of the year. Banchero number two, Williams number three, Benedict Matherin number four, Keegan Murray five. Tom also had Jalen Williams, so the Laker Holics guys are in unison there. Jalen Williams is rookie of the year. Number two is Banchero, three Kessler, four Matherin, five Murray. Uh, Nick had Banchero one, Williams two, Walker Kessler three, Keegan Murray four, Benedict Matherin five. And I had Banchero one, Williams two, Kessler three, Ivy four, and Matherin five. So out of the top five, Nick, most of the votes went for Banchero. There were two votes for Jalen Williams from the Laker Holics crew, and Henry had Walker Kessler as his rookie of the year. Why do you think Banchero is going to ultimately win it, Nick?
Uh, Really, I mean, I think it just comes down to, for me, I think media, right? Banchero has been touted as a future star. He was a number one pick. He's gotten the stats, and to play devil's advocate, those stats have been on a poorly performing team. So that's a factor to consider. But yeah, I feel like he's likely to win the award. Williams may like sweep it in at the end, but yeah, I see Banchero winning that award. I am curious though, Magic Man. Just obviously you're very knowledgeable about the game. Just curious why Keegan Murray was left out of your top five.
Yeah, you know what? He had a very good season, and he should get it kudos. I saw a guy who was basically asked to play a similar role he played in college, and having the experience he did coming out with his years, I think he was a plug and play guy. And Well, I do have him in my top 10. I couldn't find I couldn't find a way to take out Ivy or Matherin, even though a lot of people felt that Ivy did struggle. He was missing Cade Cunningham, and his team was tanking, so he didn't get a lot of help there. But I would have included Murray as well in my sixth place there, Nick. But he just, to me, the top five is what it is. I mean, had Walker Kessler played the whole year and had Utah actually given him, 30 plus minutes, I think he would have ran away with it personally. But um, Bankero had a really good first 25, 30 games. And Williams has had the best season overall. There's no question about that. Like the past 50 games, he's been the best rookie.
Yeah, no, I agree, Sean. Yeah, this league seems to be in good hands with, a bevy of talented players that are, obviously very, very young in their careers, but I
And
see some future all stars.
absolutely, yeah, Nick, that was going to be my last question for you before we head out here. So your top five, I think, would be a consensus top five. Of all those guys, who do you think tops out as, say, a star? And then who would you say is next? An all star once in a while, but for the most part, he gets a second contract. And then a guy who's a role player, and then on and on. Who do you think is going to be the star amongst that group? Who do you think has the most upside? And who do you think maybe just be a role player out of the league in 5 years?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this, Sean. If Bankero could become like a lethal 3-point threat, and just given his size, the guy is like 6'10". I mean, he has the physical gifts to really be something special. I mean, effectively, if he becomes a much better version of what Ben Simmons ended up becoming, where, he's great on defense and all around good player, where he could also dish the ball and assist, then Bankero, it's hard to say that he wouldn't have possibly the highest ceiling out of this group. With respect to maybe your second or third category of a player that you know is a solid player and that might be an all-star here and there. That could probably be someone like Keegan Murray. Someone that is a very good player, but might not be a perennial all-star. And as far as like I just Walker Kessler, he had a great season. Jalen Williams, I mean, any of those guys could just have like longevity in the NBA, and Matherin as well. So it's hard to say, that they wouldn't, have long and healthy NBA careers. But out of all these guys, I mean, they're all very talented. And we'll have to wait and see over the course of the next 2 3 years how they pan out. Joshan, you're mute. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you very much. For 10 years, Nick, I been listening with the sound off on NBA games. But as it happens, I don't know what happened yesterday, but the sound was on. I took my headphones off, and I immediately heard Jeff Van Gundy and his idiotic comments about how he doesn't like the fact that there's a Jalen Williams and a J Lynn Williams. Like, you gotta be kidding
Mhm.
me. You're so lazy you can't put an extra intonation on an
Mhm.
extra syllable. It's J N versus Jalen. I don't see a complication with that, but that's where we are now with NBA analysis, Nick.
Yeah,
You brought this up before on playback about how a lot of these suits and ties don't actually watch anything except what they're seeing in front of them at the time.
I think what ends up happening is that a lot of them end up, they don't watch the games, and whatever information they do get from a game, they probably get it from some type of intern or clerk at the news station or radio station that gives them, like a one-page cliff note saying, "Hey, AD had 4 blocks and, 15, 20 points or whatever, but without actually seeing the game played and the context surrounding the stats, you might as well have not seen or read anything regarding the game, because you have to really watch these games to get some valid impressions and to see the eye test, right, Magic Man? You actually have to see things as they happen.
Yeah, absolutely, Nick. It's not a game in which you can Google something for about 15 minutes and think you could talk expertly or
It's not like a J Moore deep dive, Magic Man.
It is not. It is not, my friend. It is not. So with that, good times, Nick. Thank you for coming on the Snack Pack, man. I really appreciate it.
No, it's great being on the snack break with you, Sean. Thanks again for the work and for spearheading these sessions. And yeah, hopefully we get the W this weekend. And I'll be on the lookout for more snack packs. And thanks again for hosting.
You're welcome. You're always invited, my friend. Open invitation anytime you want. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for this snack pack. Hopefully, it satisfied your hunger, and we'll see you later.